Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Barakatham to the hopefully elect. And this is just another edition of Coming to America, Babylon the Great. Just through the spirit, because I had accumulated some videos over the past 2 or 3 weeks or so, and just through the spirit, just filtered what videos I wanted to pretty much show, and filter through the scriptures, on some dealing with some of the conditions going on in different nations. All right. And again, just to show that, because here it is, these people in the Babylon the Great, they're in a mindset of America bouncing back. Here it is, we're in the so-called new year, and people really are under that false delusion that, again, things are gonna get better, when the men of the Lord, been telling you for years that America's gonna fall, man. This place is through. All right, and it's just a matter of time before the Lord brings these things to the shores of Babylon the Great. So, as I often say, man, this is why it wouldn't hurt to pay attention to what's going on in these other nations. All right, because again, eventually it's going to come to Babylon the Great. All right, and as I often say, the Lord is reserving the best for last, aka Babylon the Great is being preserved for last. All right. So without further ado, I believe I got 5 videos that I want to play. Again, just showing some of the conditions, that's the displacements that's going on in these different nations. All right. And this first video here, I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm just going to play a minute or two of it. And the first, the title says, Afghanistan is on the brink of mass starvation. Where is the international aid? Yeah, because pretty much when the Taliban took over, it's pretty much been a down. It's pretty much been in a down spiral ever since. All right, and a lot of these other countries have cut off the international aid due to the Taliban rule, and because they pretty much don't like how the Taliban is running things. So a lot of the international funds, the international aid has been cut off, which has caused all type of distress to the nation. All right, and it's this is just one of many places where it's bad, man. It's pretty bad. So without further ado, I'll play some of this video.
It's been nearly 4 months since the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan, the collapse of the Afghan government, and the Taliban takeover. The country is now widely seen in freefall, with citizens in danger and a spiraling humanitarian crisis. Here's Nick Schifrin.
Afghanistan is on the brink of mass starvation. Every single Afghan province is considered food insecure or even in crisis. 23 million Afghans need food assistance. 8.7 million are nearing famine. 1 million children face acute, severe malnutrition and could starve and die this winter, far more than died in 20 years of war. Schools have no money to pay teachers because the banking system is inoperable, and the healthcare system is near collapse because international assistance that was the source of funding has been frozen. To talk about U.S. policy, I'm joined by Tom West, recently named the U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan, in his first broadcast interview in this role. Tom West, welcome to the NewsHour. The U.S. is providing hundreds of millions of dollars in humanitarian aid, but it's frozen all other assistance and kept in place pre-existing sanctions on the Taliban that have become basically de facto sanctions on the Afghan government. Why?
Nick, thank you for having me. Let me first say that the humanitarian crisis unfolding and worsening in Afghanistan is at the very center of policymaking. You mentioned hundreds of millions. It's $474 million in American humanitarian assistance. That's in addition to $4.1 billion since 2002. We've issued 2 general licenses that aim to provide for UN organizations, humanitarian actors, NGOs, really scale up and meet the needs of a coming crisis this winter. Through outreach to particular corporations, we've managed to stitch together an operation that now is trucking in many millions of dollars explicitly to help humanitarian organizations scale up. We talked to the Taliban at great length about the magnitude of Afghanistan's dependence on foreign aid in the many months leading up to their takeover on August 15th. They chose a military takeover. I think they knew the consequences, and they made that decision anyway. And unfortunately, the Afghan people are suffering as a result.
The U.S. made those consequences clear, but today we are witnessing state collapse in real time. The UN says that if the trends we've been talking about continue, 97% will be in poverty. That is a level of poverty never seen before in any conflict anywhere. Do you acknowledge that U.S. policy is exacerbating the crisis, even if the U.S. didn't start it?
You know, I'd say that collectively the international community has not yet decided to pursue, for instance, sanctions relief. There are a range of things we want to see from the Taliban when it comes to establishing a record of responsible conduct.
What are you waiting for? What is it exactly that you expect the Taliban to do right now?
So we are not conditioning humanitarian assistance on anything that the Taliban moves forward with. So that $474 million is moving. And I'd add that there are about $1.5 billion stalled at the World Bank, the Afghanistan Reconstruction Trust Fund, that used to support about 75% of public expenditures.
I think, as you know, this is well beyond humanitarian assistance, emergency humanitarian assistance. This is what the government calls humanitarian plus assistance, the idea of a healthcare system, the idea of an education system, the very idea of getting cash into society, people's salaries being paid, without all of which they cannot live. They cannot actually survive throughout the day. Do you acknowledge that this is a question more than morality? It's a question of national security. If the Afghan state collapses, do you acknowledge that you could have a migration crisis that could destabilize the region?
You know, my first stop abroad in this job was to Brussels, where I consulted with our allies. Yes.
So yeah, pretty much the point was made there, and it's just spiritual because it's like a domino effect. You know, how one thing leads to another. You know, I think they said like 97% being on the verge of you know, living, basically, you know, being in poverty. You know, which that could lead to a mass migration. You know, which other places are experiencing, right? Which, because with this whole thing with the you know, with these mass migrations and basically people trying to get the hell up out of Dodge to escape judgment, because, you know, that's pretty much what's going on in a lot of places. People are trying to leave so they can escape judgment. But no matter where you go, man, you're not going to be able to escape the judgments of Yahweh Shema Shah. This is why it's just best that, hey, man, you repent, man, and get right with Yahweh Shema Shah, because, hey, you know, when it's really all said and done, and you know, it really gets bad out here. All right, only the elect are going to be taken care of, you know. But yeah, man, the situation going on with Afghanistan, if I'm not mistaken, because I mentioned this before, but if I'm not mistaken, if I'm right, I think Afghanistan is, I believe they are suffering the so-called worst humanitarian crisis right now out of all the other nations. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that. All right, because, you know, I brought it up before on how, you know, it's so bad. You know, they're pretty much on the brink of a mass famine, and, you know, the what do you call it, the health system on the verge of collapse. And, you know, it's so bad that touched on this before, how you got families, man, that they're selling their daughters off for food and you know, certain resources and things of that nature, you know, because of how bad it is. And again, best believe, hey, you know, that's coming here, man, you know, because, hey, when there is no food, all right, because a famine is coming to America, and when there is no food, you know, hey, man, a lot of, especially you women, man, a lot of you women, and children are going to become a commodity in that day, traded and sold, you know. So, that's just one of those things, man. It's coming. It's coming to Babylon the Great. All right. So getting on to the next video. Because pretty much this is
To other world news now.
they with this situation with the Sudanese people. All right, they're kind of experiencing a similar situation to what took place in Myanmar, which I've touched on that several times. All right, with the military coup that took over. They basically took over the government back in February, and ever since then, man, they've been opening fire on protest, right? Protesters, and I'm talking about live ammunition. All right, and still up to this day, there's all type of turmoil going on. All right, and that's pretty much what's going on over there in Sudan with the Sudanese, due to all the shootouts and the ongoing war. Again, families are displaced, and it's just hell. So I'm gonna play this video.
Now, and to Sudan, where thousands are on the streets again to protest against the military takeover. Internet services are reported to have been suspended there. The reinstated Prime Minister has...
Yeah, because they're places like Sudan and other places, they have a media blackout where they're not really showing, what's going on.
Trying to appoint a new cabinet for more than a month without success. The protesters want the military to stay from a transitional to a democracy. Mohammed Val has been covering this story from Khartoum. Mohammed, what are the numbers like so far? How many people have started to gather?
Well, there is no precise estimation, but it's very clear that there are huge numbers that have been gathering in the three parts of the Sudanese capital. That's Khartoum Bahri and Khartoum itself, the capital, and Durman. We said before that all the bridges have been blocked by the security forces, and that the presence of these security forces this time around has increased almost 300% compared to last week or the previous demonstrations. Right now, access is still blocked for those who want to access Khartoum from Durman or from Khartoum Bahri. But what we have noticed during the last half hour or so is that huge numbers have been able to push from the south of the capital Khartoum itself, the central Khartoum, towards the presidential palace. And we've been told that they are now about a few hundred meters away from the presidential palace. That's very dangerous. We have seen that happening last time. Suddenly bridges were open. Everybody is still asking questions about what happened and how it happened last time. But now we have this huge push from within the capital, the central capital, Khartoum itself. Apparently, some of the protesters were able to move probably yesterday or overnight to this area because they know the bridges will be closed. So they moved into the central area of Khartoum to the south, and they are pushing towards the presidential palace about 1 kilometer away from it as I speak.
We only have about 2 minutes left of this bulletin, Mohammed, but just quickly, tell us about the mood of the protesters. There seems to be relatively peaceful scenes from what we're seeing live from Khartoum.
Well, that's usually the case until they get attacked by the security forces. We have seen a pattern in Sudan. Protesters usually don't resort to violence on their own. And what they do is a kind of reaction when they are attacked by security forces. And the way they do that is they burn tires and they sometimes throw rocks at policemen in reaction. But until they are blocked, their passage is blocked, they remain calm, and they continue to march towards the destination where they are supposed to make a sit-in, if they want to do a sit-in, or they just want to deliver a message to the authorities. So far, that's the case. They are marching peacefully and slowly towards the presidential palace, and we are expecting, no doubt about it, that they will be met with violence.
Well, we appreciate that update, and we'll speak to you at the top.
Yeah, and like I said, basically, Because like you said, you can expect violence, and violence is already ensuing because with these protests, they are in fact turning violent. All right, women and children are getting put to death, right? And it's just been on my spirit to watch dealing with these military coups like Sudan and Myanmar and a few other places, going into where how the military is pretty much taking over, taking charge or whatnot. All right. It's been in my spirit to, just keep an eye on these things because here it is. We're in January now, and with these new laws and legislations, these bills that they're bringing in pass, starting in New York, which is going to spread to all provinces of Babylon, right? Which they're predicting. And when a lot of times when they go into these predictions, most of the time they're actually expecting it. All right, because again, in order for them to bring the order, they have to cause the chaos. They have to cause the chaos, the order out of chaos. All right, and here it is. The military is being deployed throughout to certain states to so-called help with this the staffing shortages and things of that nature. All right, and which they're pretty much getting they're gearing the people up, getting them used to seeing a military presence. All right, because again, who's to say that something can happen, right? Which the chaos, all right, and then the justification that gives them the justification on basically the military taking over, taking control. All right, because again, this is one of those things that when it comes to Americans, they, because of their pride, all right. When you talk about these things such as martial law, stuff like that, this is something that they can't fathom. They just can't see it happening in America because this is the great mighty nation, right? The home of the free, the land of the brave, or however the saying goes. So they really can't see these things taking place in America. But again, gradualism, all right, step by step, little by little, bit by bit, all right. Because again, they're going to get you used to seeing the military presence, right? And then the chaos is going to come, and then that's going to give the justification on them locking things down and just the military taking over. All right. So I'm gonna read this here in Ezekiel chapter 25, real quick, because again, this is the trench being set about us, man. This is their armies compassing us. All right, compassing Jerusalem. And then when you read the scriptures, man, when Yahushua, he was warning Jake that, hey, when you see the armies compassing Jerusalem, all right, because Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, just know that, hey, man, the desolation is nigh, man. Just know that they're getting ready to come down with that great wrath, and that took place around 70 AD, all right. And of course, no new thing is under the sun. The Lord brings, he brings these things back in cycles, all right, because everything's reincarnated, regenerated, all right. So it's going to be the same thing today. When we see these armies compassing about us, just know that the devil is going to come down with that great wrath. So I'm going to read this in Ezekiel 25. Ezekiel 25. Or actually, I think this is the wrong chapter. Yeah, Ezekiel 23. Ezekiel chapter 23, starting at verse 24, it says, "And they shall come against thee with chariots, wagons, and wheels, and with an assembly of people, which shall set against thee buckler and shield and helmet round about, and I will set judgment before them, and they shall judge thee according to their judgments." All right. And just to put that in modern terms, all right, the chariots, the wheels and wagons, right, with an assembly of people, right, going into the military structure, all right, the military men, the foreign troops, all right, the blue hats, all right, because with all this, humanitarian crisis going on with all these other nations, there's like this call to action for the UN to step in and you know, get involved. All right, to help out. All right. So, hey, you know, again, it's just a matter of time before them blue hats touch American soil. All right. But nevertheless, when you start to see these things, know that, again, your desolation, hey, it's coming, man. The devil and his great wrath is coming. All right. Because, again, going back to what I was saying with all these assembly bills that they're proposing. Right. Starting with New York. All right. That could very well cause an uproar, you know, a major uproar. And who's to say? Because, you know, just like this year, you know, with the whole Capitol Hill situation, right? You know, which could have been a test run, you know, which more than likely that was a you know, staged event. But who's to say that can't take place again in, you know, this month, you know, where on a much grander scale. All right. And again, that can bring justification on the military taking over and, you know, draconian, all types of draconian laws and measures fully set, right? You know, so that's why I said, you know, it's on my spirit to really pay attention to these countries where the military is, you know, having all these coups and they're just taking over, right? You know, because again, pretty soon that's going to be the new norm here in Babylon the Great, seeing military tanks rolling up and down the street, patrols up and down the streets, curfews. That's going to be the new norm in Babylon. All right. You know, because you already have in other places like in Europe, man, a lot of those nations, European nations, they are basically, some of them are going back on lockdown. You know, a lot of them have having all these restrictions and curfews. Again, that's coming to America very soon. So on to the next video. I think I got 3 more videos, two, 3 more videos.
The Iraqi Supreme Court ratified yesterday the result.
Actually, this isn't a video I had. No, that's not a video I had queued up. Salakia. Let's try this one.
After conflict, displaced Syrians are now battling extreme weather. A lack of crucial facilities is now making it difficult for them to tackle the difficult winter months that are coming up. And our next report tells you more details. Have a look.
Heavy rains have turned streets muddy in this camp for internally displaced people. Residents have been struggling to repair tents damaged by the downpour. And now, extreme cold is taking a toll on them. In the makeshift tents, a stove heater is the only thing providing some semblance of relief.
Honestly, the winter is difficult. My family and I are living in a tent. My parents and my family are with me. The tent is worn out and all night it rains. The ground is all muddy and we don't have much. It's in God's hands.
Every family in the camp.
It's in God's hands, but listen, if you're not of the elect, and the Most High is not going to protect you. Like I said, he's only going to protect it and look after the elect. So I'm going to get this real quick. Because you best believe, hey, when it's all chaos out here, you best believe that's when people are going to try to seek Yahweh Shema Shai. You best believe that. All right. I'm going to read this here in Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 12. It says, "Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, you did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that there wherein I delighted not." All right. So, hey, again, this is going to be the set judgment, because you didn't want to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, you didn't want to get down with Yahweh Shema Shai in his program. All right, because that's one thing about Jake, man. You know, they walk around treating Yahweh Shema Shai like a side piece. You know, they only want to pray or do whatever when it's convenient for them, right? You know, and hey, when that time comes, you know, hey, the Lord's gonna say, don't call me out. You know, go call on the idols that you wanted to worship, and you know, the idols that you reverence, go call on them. You see, because the scriptures talk about how the Lord, whenever the evil comes to a city, it's the Lord doing it. He's causing the you know, whatever situation. All right. It could be hurricanes, tornado, whatever. It's the Lord doing it. All right. And matter of fact, because you just had a typhoon hit the Philippines not too long ago, which, you know, they're in all type of disarray. All right. You know, they're trying to bounce back, and, you know, because of that, because, you know, that's just one of many angles the Lord can hit judgment with, you know, dealing with the you know, the weather abnormalities. All right. You know, because, you know, when the Lord brings something like a typhoon or tornado or whatever, you know, that can cause a billion of millions and billions of dollars in damage, and you know, that can be a detriment to the society, to the economy, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. All right. So with this typhoon that just hit the Philippines, which, you know, I'm sure, you know, because, you know, a lot of those so-called Philippines, a lot of them are Jakes. All right. So because of that, this typhoon that just hit the Philippines, a lot of you know, a lot of those Philippines, you know, they're basically now kind of going through like this humanitarian crisis. You know, they're like, you know, on a dealing with a famine on the pretty much on a small scale. You know, they're struggling for, you know, to get water and clean water and, you know, energy and stuff like that. You know, so the Lord brought judgment, right? You see, so, hey, you know, because like I said, hey, dealing with the strange weather abnormalities. Let me get this real quick, because, hey, you know, that's, like I said, that's just one of many things how the Lord can bring judgment, right? And you're going to be seeing that take place, man. You know, just tornadoes, just, you know, out of nowhere, just appearing in the middle of cities, you know, just taking people out. You know, that's a part of the Lord's strange act, which I'm going to get that in Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 21. It says, for Yahweh shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. So you see, hey, because, you know, when that time comes, man, and Jacob's trouble comes, it's going to be all type of things, unexplainable things going to be going on, because this is going to be the Lord unleashing his fury on the earth. All right, his plagues. He's already plaguing the earth on a low level. But hey, you know, like I said, when Jacob's trouble comes, that's when, hey, man, the Lord, he's going to show out, man. All right, he's going to show out. You know, but going back to this, Isaiah 65:12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, you did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. All right. Because, hey, you know, Jake, man, they don't take Yahweh Shai serious at all. And the Lord's going to make him pay for that. Talking to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man, those of you that don't want to get it right, the Lord's going to make you pay for that. He's going to make you suffer. All right. So when the Lord brings these calamities, I'm going to get that. And then you try to call on the Lord, hey, you know, don't expect an answer. You know, the Lord, hey, man, show you that the Lord, man, he's a, hey, man, he don't play, man. He's going to bring these calamities upon you. And then when he, because that's the thing, man, when you read like in Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, it talks about how in mine hearing, man, when the scriptures, when it talks about how, hey, slay utterly old and young, men, women, children, hey, you know, all those outside of the elect, all right, these people are going to be dying horrible deaths. And it tells you, man, in my hearing, meaning that, hey, the Lord, he wants to hear you people suffer, man. He wants to hear you people plead and beg for mercy, man. Just to show you that, man, hey, man, the Lord is not one to play with, man. You know? So I'm going to read this in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 26. It says, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. So, hey, man, the Lord is cold-hearted, man. He's cold-blooded, man. So yeah, when he brings these calamities upon you, then that's when you try to, you know, get right. Hey, man, the Lord, he's going to be laughing at you, man. Scriptures talk about how, hey, the elect, when everyone else is dying, you know, dying horrible deaths, the elect, man, they're going to be laughing and rejoicing. You know, the angels, they're going to be laughing, you know. So, hey, man, hey, like I said, you don't want to get down with the program, then, hey, prepare to suffer. Verse 27, it says, when your fear cometh as desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. And that's the thing. The Lord is getting ready to bring your worst fears upon you, man. These people, man, they're walking around here with the chest out like they're something when they're nothing. right? Thinking nothing can touch them, because that's again the thing with these Americans, man. These Babylonians, they think they can't be touched. This place can't be touched. Well, listen, man, America's virginity is about to get popped. All right, the virgin daughter of Babylon, her virginity is about to get popped. Her cherry is about to get popped. All right, and you people, you're about to be touched. All right. It says, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. So when your distress comes upon you, your anguish, when when the Lord brings misery upon you, all right, when he brings that death by pain upon you, right? It says, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. Because, hey, the Lord, he's a power that hides himself. This is the time to seek Yahweh Shemel Shai now and get on his good grace now. Get on his good side now. Because when that time is up, that's it. And only those that were, took the opportunity while they had yet liberty, they're gonna be straight. The elect, they're gonna be straight. All right, I'm gonna read this because this is that we can apply to as far as the being the hopefully elect. In Psalm 120 in verse 1 it says, in my distress. So you see, when the Lord brings this distress, all right, because even the elect are going to be here. We're the hopefully elect, we're going to have to be here and deal with it, and the evil. Hey man, we're going to be here, but Lord's will, it doesn't consume us. All right. So when the Lord brings this distress, right, when everyone else is calling upon the, trying to get right with the Lord and all that, and the Lord he's going to reject them. But to us, to the hopefully elect, because that's what the house of David consists of, the hopefully elect. It says, in my distress, I cried unto the Lord. I cried unto Yahweh, and he heard me. So, hey, when distress comes upon us, the hopefully elect, all right, the house of David, the hopefully elect, all right, when distress comes upon us, then, hey, the Lord's going to hear us, and he's going to move on our behalf. All right, so again, hey, to the hopefully elect, we got nothing to worry about, So, yeah, going back to how, hey, man, hey, God, he's not going to be able to do anything for you. Jehovah, Jesus, all these idols, they're not going to be able to do anything for you. All right. When the Lord is the one bringing these calamities. All right. So back to the video.
Camp has the same story to tell. Conflict forced them to flee, and now they're thinking of leaving again because of the harsh weather and lack of facilities.
The bad rain has resulted in a difficult situation for the families. The tents started to leak water. A lot of the tents are worn out. There was a tent that fell onto a family. Imagine, at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. at night, everyone is asleep apart from us in the north of Syria. Where are you supposed to protect your children? Where are you supposed to put them to keep them warm with this water? Our villages are polluted. The camp is in an agricultural area with families cut off from water for 3 to 4 days.
But options that these displaced Syrians have are limited, and people are trying to do whatever they could just to survive. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
So yeah, man, hey, extreme discomfort is coming, man. Because not only that, hey, like I said, America, her cherry is about to get popped. So, and this is already happening in other places where, a lot of kids, man, they're born into a warlike environment to where, all their life, all they hear was gunshots going off, tanks, and that type of setting. Well, that's coming to America. When you're trying to sleep, here it is. You've been on the run all for the past 24 hours. You're tired. You're hungry. You're weak, right? And then when you think you're able to get some rest or whatnot, then boom, you hear bombs going off and shots fired, and it's just chaos. All hell starts breaking loose, and then you got to get up and get be on the move, because that's how it's going to be, right? Displacement of families. Families are going to be separated. All right, that's what the scriptures say, man. Get ye ready to the battle. And those evils be as pilgrims on the earth, right? Because hey, a lot of us, we're gonna be on the move, man. Not a certain dwelling place. All right, it's just extreme discomfort, man. Hey, there's another thing coming to America, man. Which hey, these people are in for a rude awakening, because again, they can't see it happening. Not America. This stuff can never happen here, man. Here it is. We got the greatest military, which America's military is a joke. America's military is so weak. It's a joke. Joe Biden it's a joke. This whole administration is a joke. You know, so this place is through. All right. So to the next video.
This is what's left of a once thriving market in the far northern region of Cameroon. It was burned down in fighting about access to water in the region. This mobile phone footage shows armed herders in Kusieri looking for water points to feed their cattle, fighting with fishermen and farmers unwilling to share their wells. 4 months after the end of a rainy season that brought little rainfall, people are willing to kill for a drop of water. This vendor says this is a war fueled by lack of water spilling across the region, with the government standing by doing little to stop the fighting. At the local hospital, injured rival herders and farmers get treatment side by side after days of violence. The situation is tense. The governor offers envelopes of cash, but for many, this is not enough.
Overall, the situation has become calm again. Shops have been gradually reopening since yesterday, and so far we have not recorded any hotbed of tension. We will continue to receive communities, associations, and all those who want to make a contribution to the restoration of peace.
While Cameroon's president sends his ministers to the region to mediate, more than 30,000 people have fled to neighboring Chad, where President Mohamed Idris Deby is calling for urgent humanitarian assistance. The displaced left behind their homes and belongings, but brought with them tales of horror.
I was tortured by 7 people from the Arab community. I was seriously wounded on my back by machetes and almost died in the bush. Fortunately, my relatives found me and helped me to cross the river so I could be treated here. The conflict there has become very violent. I don't want to go back.
Not enough water and thirsty for revenge. This is a conflict made worse by a changing climate. With months to go before next year's rainy season, the people of Cameroon's far north fear the fight for water has only just begun. Nicholas Hawk out.
So yeah, again, another thing coming to America, man. Right, and you got a small glimpse of that with this whole toilet paper situation last year, man. People fighting one another, killing one another, you know, over toilet paper, over freaking chicken sandwiches from, what was that, KFC or whatever, Popeyes, I think it was. You know, the spicy chicken sandwiches. People literally killing themselves. Just imagine when there's a complete lack of food and resources, man. You know, these are the times that we're coming into, right? You know, as I say that, I'm looking for this. Cause hey, man, again, like I said, women, children, hey, man, they're gonna become a commodity, right? Traded and sold, right? You know, hey, man, a lot of people are gonna get snatched up to never be heard of again. You know, used as sex slaves. You know, hey, man, all type of things are gonna be going on, very soon here, man. Coming to the streets of America very soon. And so, like, I'm looking for this precept. Just bear with me real quick. Oh, I'm in the wrong chapter. Excuse me. Let's go to the right chapter. Just bear with me, right? Because again, you know, the conflict with this again is a lack of water, right? You know, and hey, people are killing. You know, things are turning violent. Like I said, you got a small glimpse of that here in America. So just imagine when, like I said, because eventually this whole what do you call it, supply chain crisis, where they're holding all those cargo ships off, you know, in the different ports. They say it's the west side, but the west coast, but I believe it's, you know, all around. Eventually we're going to start seeing the effects of that. All right, and here it is. You know, they're talking about that, they're warning of inflation increasing and the prices of goods going up for 2022. Right. You know, so hey, 2022, man, I said this last year, now I'm saying it, for this year, man. It's going to be one hell of a year, man. We can feel it. Brothers can feel it, man. So I'm gonna read this in 2 Ezra 16, verse 31. It says, "Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword." All right, so hey, due to the lack of resources, food, the ongoing famine, hey, people are going to be searching, looking for food and resources, man, right? And like I said, a lot of you women and children are going to become a booty. You're going to become a spoil, all right? You're going to become a commodity, all right? You're going to become enslaved, held in captivity against your will, all that stuff, man. It's going to get that bad. It's going to get bad out here, man. And you see these people, they can't grasp this concept. They just, even though the signs are there, your false optimism, all right, because people are clinging on with everything that they've got to, anything to give them hope, when hey, like in Lebanon, speak on Lebanon real quick, because hey, pretty much their Christmas was canceled. Right, as well as in other places, of course, but like Lebanon, you had this guy. I was watching how basically had this warlord, military warlord or whatever, take over in 2018, and ever since then, man, again, more of this humanitarian crisis, and families being displaced, right, going into these what do you call them? These I guess refugee centers or whatever, right? Like I said, ever since then, there's been this ongoing war, this struggle, this conflict, like, some of the videos that I've showed, like compared to like Afghanistan and stuff like that. Well, Lebanon, they're also, I'm sorry, I said Lebanon. I think that's Libya. I think that was Libya or Lebanon. But nevertheless, one of those nations, man, a lot of successful entrepreneurs, man, they had to, they were basically put out of business, and they had to sell all their goods because, again, speaking on this inflation, right? Pakistan is another place where inflation is pretty much getting out of control, and some of these places like Pakistan and Lebanon, again, going into this inflation situation, man, is getting so bad, and these leaders, man, they're it's like they're running out. Basically the government is running out of money, and they can't take care of the country. They can't run the country because they're running out of money, So it's just a concoction of things going on, man. And matter of fact, I'm gonna get this, all right, because hey, like I quoted, hey, the Lord, He's sending these plagues, man, and He's reserving the best for last. America, this place is gonna get it the worst. The Lord's going to make a statement with Babylon the Great. All right. So, hey, when the Lord brings this distress, hey, you can't say that you weren't told, man. I'm going to read this in 1 Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 49. It says, "They also of the tower in Jerusalem were kept so straight." All right. Difficulty. All right. In a position of difficulty, I'll say. All right. Going into the straits. Because, hey, like I've said before, man, hey, we're coming into the straight gate. Get comfortable with getting uncomfortable, man, with being uncomfortable. All right, because like I said, it's going to get extremely uncomfortable out here, man. So it says they could neither come forth nor go into the country, nor buy nor sell. Wherefore they were in great distress for want of victuals, and a great number of them perished through famine. And I was watching another video, where it was so bad that one of the dudes was talking about how, hey man, we can't buy, we can't sell, we can't partake in, we can't, because you see that's the thing with the elites, man. You see, because this world is going to shit right now, because as it's often said, in order for them to bring in this new system, all right, the Revelation 13, 16 and 17, they had to collapse the old system. and this dollar, man, it's on its way out of there. All right. And in order to partake, because I have another video queued up. I haven't watched it yet, but it was talking about how when are they going to bring the metaverse into a reality? You know, when are they basically going to bring it to pass? Right? Because you see, hey, again, in order to partake in this new system, hey man, you're going to have to get down with this program. All right. But that's, you know, not to veer off too much off the topic, but nevertheless, all right, hey man, this world is in a shit case right now. All right. But even more so, hey, these things are coming to America, man. These things are coming to Babylon the Great. The Lord is getting ready to bring great distress and calamities, anguish, all right, great misery. And it's just a matter of time before these things touch down on the shores of America, man. You know, so, you know, I had a lot more videos queued up, but, you know, hopefully the point was made and there was some edification out of this. I'm going to end it off there, giving all praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Shema Shai Brakathum. Tudo, hopefully elect, Lord's willing. Until next time, Shalom.